Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Part 2 by J.K. Rowling. The Charm One presents. It was a scar that made Harry so particular, unusual, even for a wizard. This scar was the only hint of Harry's very mysterious past, of the reason he had been left on the Dursleys' doorstep 11 years ago. At an age of 1 year old, Harry had somehow survived the curse from the greatest dark sorcerer of all time, Lord Voldemort, whose name most witches and wizards still fear to speak. Harry's parents had died in Voldemort's attack, but Harry had escaped with his lightning scar. And somehow nobody understood, as Voldemort's powers had been destroyed the instant he failed to kill Harry. So Harry had been brought up by his dead mother's sister and her husband. He had spent 10 years with the Dursleys, never understanding why he kept making odd things happen without meaning to, believing the Dursley story that he got the scar in a car crash that had killed his parents. And then exactly a year ago, Hogwarts had written to Harry and the whole story had come true. Harry had taken up his place at a wizard school, where he and his scar were famous. But now the school year was over, and he was back with the Dursleys for the summer, back to being treated like a dog that had rolled in something smelly. The Dursleys hadn't even remembered that today happened to be Harry's 12th birthday. Of course, his hopes hadn't been high. They'd never get him a real present, let alone a cake, but to ignore it completely. And the moment Uncle Vernon cleared his throat importantly and said, "Now, as we all know, today's an important day." Harry looked up, hardly daring to believe it. "This could well be the day I make the biggest deal of my career," said Uncle Vernon. Harry went back to his toast. Of course, he thought bitterly, Uncle Vernon was talking about that stupid dinner party. He had been talking about nothing else for 2 weeks. Some richer builder and his wife were coming to dinner, and Uncle Vernon was hoping to get a huge order from him. Uncle Vernon's company made drills. "I think we should run through the schedule one more time," said Uncle Vernon. "We should all be in position at 8 o'clock. Petunia, you'll be in the lounge," said Aunt Petunia promptly, "waiting to welcome the graciously to our home." Good. And Dudley? "I'll be waiting to open the door." Dudley put on a foul, simpering smile. "May I take your coats, Mr. and Mrs. Mason?" "They'll love him," cried Aunt Petunia rapturously. "Excellent, Dudley," said Uncle Vernon, then rounded on Harry. "And you?" "I'll be in my bedroom, making no noise and pretending I'm not there," said Harry tonelessly. "Exactly," said Uncle Vernon nasty. "I will lead them into the lounge, introduce and introduce you, Petunia, and pour them drinks at 8:15. I'll announce dinner, said Aunt Petunia. And Dudley, you'll say, may I take you through the dining room, Miss Mason, said Dudley, offering his fat arm to an invisible woman. My perfect little gentleman, sniffed Aunt Petunia. And you, said Uncle Vernon viciously to Harry. I'll be in my room, making no noise and pretending I'm not there, said Harry. Precisely. Now we should aim to get in a few good compliments at dinner, Petunia. Any ideas? Vernon tells me you're a wonderful golfer, Mr. Mason. Do tell me where you bought your dress, Mrs. Mason. Perfect. Dudley, how about we had to write an essay about our hero at school, Mr. Mason, and I wrote about you. This is much for both Aunt Petunia and Harry. Aunt Petunia burst into tears and hugged her son, while Harry ducked under the table so they wouldn't see him laughing. And you, boy? Harry fought to keep a straight face as he emerged. I'll be in my room making no noise and pretending I'm not there, he said. To right you will, said Uncle Vernon forcefully. The Masons don't know anything about you, and it's going to stay that way. When dinner's over, you take Mrs. Mason back to the lounge for coffee, Petunia, and I'll bring the subject about to drills. With any luck, I'll have a deal signed and sealed before the news at 10. We'll be shopping for vacation home in Majorca. This time tomorrow. Harry couldn't feel too excited about this. He didn't think the Dursleys would like him any better in Majorca than they did on Privet Drive. Right, I'm off to town to pick up dinner jackets for Dudley and me. And you? He snarled at Harry. You stay out of Aunt Petunia's way while she's cleaning. Harry left through the back door. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant sunny day. He crossed the lawn, slumped down on the garden bench, and sang underneath his breath. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. No cards, no presents, and he wouldn't be spending the evening pretending not to exist. He gazed miserably into the hedge. He had never felt so lonely, more than anything else at Hogwarts, more even than playing Quidditch. Harry missed his best friends, Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger. They, however, didn't seem to be missing him at all. Neither of them had written to him all summer, even though Ron said he was going to ask Harry to come and stay countless times. Harry had been on point. Harry had been on point of unlocking Hedwig's cage by magic and sending her to Ron and Hermione with a letter. But it wasn't worth the risk. Underage wizards weren't allowed to use magic outside of school. Harry hadn't told the Dursleys this. He knew it was only their terror that he might turn them all into dung beetles that stopped them from locking him in the cupboard under the stairs with his wand and broomstick for the first couple of weeks back. Harry had enjoyed muttering nonsense words under his